Well, let's see. I mean, I guess the comma maybe would be kind of clear, you know, because it's saying all of this or this, you know. So. No, not necessarily. Like, for example, is there certain ones you're thinking of? Like what you wrote, what you were thinking of?
I think I got it right. It's just not verbatim as far as different words besides like then.
So you're looking for that this is a keyword and not is also a keyword. The some dogs do not have to move. So the opposite of the some dogs do not. So the opposite of that would be that all dogs have. Is that so this was not all dogs. This is like an equivalent statement to this. Yeah.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and go to the next ones. So this time you're translating the words into symbols. So if I do not do my homework, then I do not eat pizza. So I don't do my homework would be not Q, so tilde Q. Then, so the if then is the arrow. I do not eat pizza, so that would be tilde R, not R. So not Q implies not R. And then number 10, doing my homework and eating pizza is necessary and sufficient for me to go to school. So all of this is necessary and sufficient for going to school. So that would be Q and R, and we would put that in parentheses. And then you would have the is necessary and sufficient for is the double arrow, and going to school is P. So if I do not go to school and I do not do my homework, then I do not eat pizza. So that would be, so I don't go to school, that would be tilde P, and I don't do my homework, so that would be tilde Q. So if both of those things are true, then I don't eat pizza. And also the comma can kind of clue you in to the fact that you need to put parentheses around that first part. So then I do not eat pizza, that would be tilde R. All right, any questions about that?
Did you get it wrong
If you didn't put the parentheses? Yeah, probably. Because if you don't put the parentheses, then you don't really know what is going together. I think when you have more than one, like operator, like you have an and then you have the arrow, you have to have parentheses. Because if you don't, then you don't know if it's supposed to be like this, or it could be, have like this and have a different meaning.
So it's not based on the comma entirely? It just
It's based on the, the meaning of the statement, because it's saying if both of these things are true, then this is true. So if you didn't have the, if you didn't have the parentheses, and let's say, if you looked at it like having parentheses right here, this would be like, I do not go to school, and if I don't do my homework, then I don't eat pizza. So you have to have parentheses to know like which way it is.
So that's separating the if and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. So because it's if all of this, then that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you don't have them, it would seem kind of like it's maybe just if this, then this, but it's actually if all of this, then this. All right, so that covers the next part of the worksheet from 13 through 17.
just one letter, you don't have to do that.
It's just,
Yeah.
it is the same,
Yeah, so it's only if you have like, if a whole thing with another, operation inside of it, yeah.
So what if that technically be, like, a different way of determining that, or does it have to be that?
It does need to be this way because, yeah, they're saying that, that whole statement is false, so, like, yeah, if you, because when you say this,
It's just like grouping them together. and it's
like,
this.
one of these could be true and one of them could be false still. That's what it is. And so what you're saying here is you're saying that they're both false, but that's not the same thing.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions?
All right, so let's go ahead and go to section 3.3, which is about truth tables. All right, these are so much fun. So we'll talk about just like the basics for each different type of operation or connector that you can have. So the conjunction, that's the and. So like with each time if we have P and Q, I'm just going to go ahead and fill out the all the possible combinations of true and false for those two statements. So you could have, and I always do it the same way just to try to always be consistent. All right, so that just represents all the possible combinations for whether P is true or false and whether Q is true or false. You could either have they're both true, you could have P is true and Q is false, you could have P is false and Q is true, or you could have they're both false. So those are all the possible combinations. So the first two columns of like all of these are just going to look like that. Okay. So just have that same thing on all of them. All right, so for and, so like I said, when you say P and Q, in order for that to be true, both P and Q have to be true. So the only time when P and Q is true is right here, when they're both true. Any time that one of them is false, then that and statement is false. So then that's going to be true, false, false, false. And then a disjunction is the or. So that just has to be at least one of P or Q is true. So it's as long as one of them is true, then it's going to be true. The only time it's false is if they're both false. All right, and then for the negation, obviously if P is true, then not P is false, and if P is false, not P is true. Now for the implication, this is the one where it gets a little bit more interesting. So if P, then Q. P implies Q. So if P, this is like, for example, if I go to the store, I will buy milk. Okay? So as long as I don't go to the store, then I don't have to do anything. Right? So, and you can't accuse me of lying to you. But, so if I don't even go to the store, then I'm good. I'm true. Either way, whether I got milk or I didn't, I don't know how to get it that way in the store, but still. And if I do go to the store and I do get milk, then I'm good. I'm true. The only time you can accuse me of lying is if I went to the store, but I did not buy milk. Then I'm false. So the only time when that implication is false is when the first thing is true and the second thing is false. And any other time it's true. And then for the biconditional, that's the if and only if. So in that case, that's basically saying P implies Q and also Q implies P. So for the biconditional, they have to be the same. So either they're both true, or if they're both false, then it's true. Otherwise, it's false. All right. Any questions so far? All right, so for number 1, just go ahead and fill in my first 2 columns of T's and F's. Okay, so then not P, that's just going to have the opposite truth value of P. So that in that case, that'll be F, F, T, T. And then Q and not P. So in order for that to be true, both Q and not P have to be both true. So the only time when that's true is on the 3rd line right there. And all the other ones it's false. So it's false, false, true, false. All right. Any questions about that? Let's see. Now on number 2 I have R, and I failed to give myself enough rows to do this because I actually need 8 rows. All right. All right, so when you have 3 things, so all the possible combinations, so this time under P I'm going to do 4 T's and 4 F's. T, 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 F, 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 F. And then under Q, I'm going to do T, T, F, F, T, T, F, F. And then under R, I'm going to do TF, 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 TF. And that gives me all the possible combinations for true and false for those three letters, P, Q, and R. All right, so then tilde Q, that's going to be the opposite of Q. So that would be, in this case, F, F, T, T, F, F, T, T. All right, then I'm going to do not Q or P. So the only time this is false is if both of those things are false. So I'm looking at the not Q column and I'm looking at the P column. And the only time this next column is going to be false is if both of those are false. So here on the 5th and 6th line, those are my only two F's in that column, and the rest are going to be T's. And then R implies not Q or P. So then I'm going to focus on the R column and this column right here. Okay, so the only time the implication is false is when the first one is false and the second one is true. So that would be on the second line, it's false. On the 4th line, that's false. And on the last line, that's false. Wait. No, I just did that totally wrong. Just kidding. It's supposed to be the first one's true and the second one's false. First one's true. Okay. There. I think that's the only one. It's just that one right there on the 5th line. Where the first one is true and the second one's false. Because all the other times when the first one is true, the second one is also true. So I've got T, 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 F, T, T, T. All right. Any questions about that? Alright, so number 3, this one just has only P and Q again. Alright, so for P, I'm going to do T, T, F, F. For Q, I'm going to do T, F, T, F. Alright, now in this case, I need to figure out what I need to fill into these columns to get my final result. So I'm going to do a column for tilde Q, I'm going to do a column for tilde P, and then I'm going to do a column for tilde Q and tilde P. So not Q, that's just going to be FT, FT. And then not P, that'll be FFTT. And then not Q and not P. So that's only true when both of those previous two columns are both true, which is on the last row. So it's F, 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 T. Alright, so then we would focus on, so it's P, if and only if, not Q and not P. So we have to focus on the P column and then this AND column. Alright, so in order for this to be true, we need those two columns to be the same, either both true or both false. But we don't have that at all. So these are all false. Oh, they're both false. Okay, yeah. So it's FFTF. All right. Any questions about that? All right. So, number 4, determine the truth value using truth tables. Okay, Obama is the president if and only if 1 + 1 = 2 or 3 + 2 is not equal to 6. So let's make this define, like, give each statement a letter. So we could have statement P is Obama is the president. And then we can have statement Q is 1 + 1 = 2, and then statement R would be 3 + 2 is equal to 6. Well, let's say it is equal to 6, and then we'll say tilde R is 3 + 2 is not equal to 6. Okay, so we've got P, Q, and R. So
Why would you make the R statement true if it's false according to the question?
well, we can define the statement however we want. If you want to define it as not equal to 6, that would be fine. But
But that's what the question states, it's not equal to 6, so why would you make it equal to 3?
just because, I don't know, that just makes more sense to me to make the not statement the one that's not equal to. So, okay. Let's see. So the final statement that we're trying to prove is P if and only if Q or not R.
So you really only need that last column?
Well, so yeah. No, I mean there's a reason why these are all here.
You don't have to have R = 3 + 2 = 6.
I guess if you wanted to do it the other way, that would be fine too.
Or row short.
I don't understand why.
So I would have a column for not R. I would have a column for Q or not R. So I think those are all the columns that I would need. So now I don't need the other rows because I actually know whether these statements are true or false. I don't need to go through all the possibilities. So Obama is the president, true. 1 + 1 = 2, true. 3 + 2 = 6, false. Not R, true. Q or not R, so since they're both true, that's true. And then since both of those are true, this is true as well. So really, the final answer that we're looking for here is true. Okay. All right, so that covers everything for chapter 3. So you should be able to finish that worksheet. So So you might want to do 20 and 21 first, since some of the, like, that's already filled out for you. It'll be a little bit easier than on like 18 and 19 where you have to make your own. So yeah, I'm going to skip those if you want to for now.
Are we doing anything else as far as lunch goes?
No.
Oh, yeah. Let me fix that real quick.
Alright, I fixed those chapter 9 due dates, so those will be due on Monday along with chapter 3.
Is that your study?
Yeah, we're gonna do chapter 9 tomorrow.